Richard's fucking giggling and putting me off. You giggled, right?
I wasn't giggling, it's in your head. Go on, just do it. I want to look at you.
Okay.
I think Richard do the outro.
Okay. No, I do it, right. And we're back. Hello, welcome to the Decade Old Podcast. After a year of technical difficulties, I'm Conor Geary, and as always, I'm joined by Gloria Shannon.
Hi.
Karen O'Sullivan.
Hi.
And Richard Travers.
Welcome to the best of the worst.
So, picking up again with our usual formula of doing 4 movies per 4 quarters of the year. This time we've chosen Crank, The Holiday, Stranger Than Fiction, and Paprika. Guys, before we start off, in general, where do you think the quality of this podcast will fall? In terms of the movies.
I wouldn't say it's our highest.
They're probably some of the most interesting
Yeah.
movies we've picked.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the greatest movies, but they all have talking points.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're starting it off with Crank, directed by, I can never pronounce his name, Mark Neveldine, and Brian Taylor. Jason Statham plays a sort of ambiguous gangster in LA. He wakes up receiving a DVD from an enemy of his telling him that he's been given this like slow acting poison that'll kill him if he sort of stops being active. If he lets his heartbeat sort of slow down, he'll die. The film is basically just an excuse for Jason Statham as Chief Chelios to run amok, do loads of really reckless things to keep his heart rate up and stay alive. It's a pretty amusing film. I like it well enough, although it isn't as much fun as I saw it when I was 16. Guys, overall, what do you think of it? Yay or nay?
Yeah.
Wouldn't really watch it again.
Nay.
Well, maybe that's a male-female thing then. Like both girls are saying no, but because it was a bit. First of all, it's a bit rapey.
Yeah,
Let's just get that out there straight away. He tries to fucking rape his girlfriend in the middle of Chinatown, and everyone just stands around and watch. And then she just gets so into it.
It's Gone with the Wind
And
times 10.
starts
basically.
trying to sexually abuse him to get it up and put it in her already. Like, come on.
Well, the thing you pointed out is that no one helps her.
Yeah, they don't even like awkwardly like look away and are kind of like, oh god, what should we do? There's none of that. It's literally like, oh, look at this guy pulling at his girlfriend's legs, clawing her back, ripping her top off. I mean, that's perfectly normal.
Well, actually, that's very accurate to the real Chinese because there's no good Samaritans in China. Fun fact.
Well, okay, so the idea is that he's trying to stimulate himself. He's about to die, and the only way he can think to do it is by grabbing his girlfriend by the ankles, hauling her down, and having sex, basically, in public.
That's
So,
not an excuse.
So
If you're
I'm
going
not
to
He
saying-
could
die,
have explained that to her.
I'm
Could
just
have
explaining
said,
his motivation.
Would she believe it though?
yeah, but he could have even said, maybe let's go to a bathroom, let's go somewhere, let's go to the fucking
That's
car.
worse.
No, it's worse.
I'd
So
rather
you would like drag your girlfriend by the ankles,
Oh,
rip her
God.
top off in front of everyone, and start trying to have sex with her.
including a bus load of school children.
It's better than riding in where someone poos.
No, it's not. It's called rape. But then what's worse is she got so into it. And like
oh,
you,
yeah, but she goes from like 0 to 100.
yeah, the way she bites his lip, and then all of a sudden
Well, she's like, get the fuck off me, and then she's like, give
get
me
it
more.
up,
Yeah.
get it up, and her legs are in the fucking air. It was one of the most disturbing scenes that I have seen in a long time.
I'm surprised there hasn't been. Maybe it's just per the fact that it's 10 years old. I feel if it came out today, the film would be torn to fucking shreds over that scene.
Oh, easy.
Surely.
Definitely.
Social media and whatnot.
Yeah. Jason Statham's a rapist. Hashtag not all Statham's.
It is. I mean,
Especially after the
it
whole.
would very much qualify as one of those hashtag problematic films.
For fuck's sake.
It would, because of the blurred lines. She turned around and she was like, no, he kept going. And then she turned around and then she got like Bitsy said, from 0 to 100. So like, I mean, it totally has blurred lines. It's saying that women can't say, they say no and then, oh well, they'll just give in a couple of minutes if you keep pulling at them for long enough.
I'm reminded of that scene in Interview with the Vampire where Tom Cruise tries to reassure Brad Pitt that it's not murder, the fact that they're vampires, because they need to drink blood to survive. Do you feel that it's acceptable because Jason Statham needed to have sex to survive, that he had to do it via rape?
No,
No.
because he was in a coffee shop.
He's about to die. Bear in mind, he's about to die.
Yeah, so that does not justify. Does that mean if a
There are
man...
loads of people who are about to die because they have some illness, blah blah blah, whatever. That does not mean that just, oh, you have cancer, you're going to die
But
in
no,
6
this
months.
will
Go
save
and
his-
rape as many people
But
as
this
you
will
want.
save his life.
But it's
No,
not.
and it'll ruin hers.
He is going to die within the next 24 hours.
Anyway, it's just
Anyway.
going to prolong his life by a couple of minutes or hours.
It's not actually going to save his life. Having sex is not the cure. So what he's doing is potentially scarring this woman for life just to save
prolong
himself
his
for a
life
few hours.
Okay.
Plus, also, she's his girlfriend. If she could still have sex with him. If my boyfriend turned around and said, I really need to have sex with her now to save my life, I'd even think, Jesus, that's a good line. Let's go. Like, you don't need to rape her.
Well, he was like literally on the ground. Like he could barely move.
Oh my God, what is wrong with you? He
But-
could move because he fucking dragged
By the
her
way-
down to the ground.
By the way, I'm
and ripped her top off.
By the way, I'm on your side with the scene. I'm just posing
Being
these
devil's
hypotheticals.
advocate.
Devil's advocate, exactly. Jason Statham, yay or nay, is he a dishy dreamboat?
No.
No.
I think he's funny. I think he's a good actor in general. But I do not think he's attractive.
My brother
personally.
insists that he's the worst actor in the world.
That's
And
harsh.
I can't agree with him in a world where, what's that fucker's name? That guy who's the size of a whale these days.
Melissa McCarthy.
No. He used to be in all. He's like a proto Jason Statham. He used to be in all those terrible.
Oh,
action
Steven Seagal.
Steven Seagal.
Hey, no, you
Oh,
take
God.
that back.
No,
You
he
take
is a
that
terrible
back.
actor.
He
Terrible
is
actor.
amazing.
And all his movies are crap. And they're
Okay.
all the same plot.
Fucking awesome looking film. If nothing else, the cinematography is class. You feel
Except
like
for
you're.
the last
You feel like
scene.
you're there. It's totally immersive.
Yeah.
You feel every time he puts a foot in front of you, every jump, every hit he takes. When he falls off the bike and crashes into a table, you feel it. You're there watching it with them.
But what about the last scene where they have a really good shot of him? There's a helicopter fight. They have a really good shot of him overlooking the city.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're strangling each other in midair and they're just floating.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like little
That's the only
angels.
bad
and
looking part of the film, I
clouds.
think. And so the climax of the film is Chiv Chelios and the antagonist.
Ricky.
Was it Ricky?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fighting it out in a helicopter. And it starts off with a really good looking keyed in background shot of the cityscape as he's falling. And then it cuts to a really shitty looking green screen version of them like tugging it out like as they're falling. And then there's this
Like, to
really
be honest,
there's
they
this
were
really
probably
lame
on green tables, like opposite
Oh, you
each
bet they
other,
were.
strangling each
But
other.
it's weird, it went from looking so good to looking so bad, and then there's like a really cheesy, unrealistic neck snapping sound that you don't see, and Jason Statham doesn't even move his fucking arms, so he could have hardly snapped his
Yeah,
neck.
it was terrible, that bit.
Now, what about though when he fucking Looney Tunes on the car roof? Bounce!
Yeah.
plop.
I think
I don't like that.
last, whatever, 2 minutes, like, you know, because it'd gone from looking so good, and we had commented on how good it was
Yeah.
looking at the time, to instantly being a bit like, could they have just, like, left that entire thing out and just had him break
Yeah.
his neck in the helicopter and just fall out
Yeah,
on the way or something?
Or they could have just fallen out. I mean, the guy's gonna die anyway, he doesn't need to snap his neck before
Oh, no, he
falls.
has to snap his
Yeah,
neck,
he has
otherwise
to.
he doesn't get the justification for the kill.
Okay, so he snaps his neck when he's in the helicopter. Then
Yeah.
he falls.
That's
They should have
better.
just kept on that close-up shot of him falling and then cut to black. It'd be much better than that Looney Tunes shot, as Richard calls it, of him banging off the car and then bouncing
It
upwards.
really
and,
was like a Looney Tunes shot.
It's like
It's a
20
perfect way
metres
to
up in the
describe
air.
it.
There's this. There's
Car
a few
roofs
moments.
at trampolines.
There's a few moments in the So there's a lot of funny stuff, or I say a lot. There's bits and pieces of funny stuff in the film, some gags that work. There's also a few that don't. Remember early on when he's kicking ass in the club?
Yeah.
And the club literally goes brrr, like you can literally see it bouncing like in a cartoon. Yeah, there's some stuff like that, and the impossible mid-flight neck snap, and the Looney Tunes car bounce, which kind of bring the film down. I know it's a really incredibly unrealistic film, but
yeah, but I think this movie
goes
was specifically made for men who like things like Steven Seagal movies. It's like a chick flick that just has everything, but it's for men.
Okay, but
so it's got drugs, it's got fights, it's got tits, it's got sex in public, it's got a bit of partial rape. It's got everything.
Oh,
you
guys love
like.
partial rape. But I can't get enough of that partial rape.
But it's so much better than the average Steven Seagal movie, though.
No, take that back.
Name one good Steven
Seagal. Under Siege 2.
No, please,
The Glimmer Man.
Richard, no. It is better than Steven Seagal, but what I'm saying is it's like a chick flick where it's got, the really hot guy, he says something really romantic, they have a kiss in the rain. It's literally got all those points, but for men.
So you see it as a really shallow, like, male-centric movie that just ticks off things that men
yeah, that's what it feels like. There's not a whole pile of substance to this film.
What about when he cuts off your man's arm? I thought that effect looked bad, but I kind of passed because it was so funny. I wanted to talk about that for ages.
I just think that it's got all the kind of, like, if you were like, what will make men come and watch this movie? First of all, the actor himself. Then you've got, like, the drugs, the tits, the sex, the cars, the fights, the helicopter.
It's more like
it's literally just tick, tick, tick. No, there was loads of boobs.
Really?
In the beginning, there was a few there, like the strip club and the pool. But, like, they were on screen for, like, 2 seconds. It wasn't like a big...
Yeah, but they literally just were like, okay, that's done, ticked off. That's what it felt like. Okay, that's done, ticked off.
I admire for the shaky cam, though, because shaky cam's hard to do right, because you get stuff like Cloverfield where... your man's, like, throwing it up in the air.
But that's a different mode altogether, though. That's found footage type stuff.
But, like, there's found footage stuff like Cannibal Holocaust, which is shot better than Cloverfield or Blair Witch.
I think Cloverfield is much better than Cannibal Holocaust.
And I just hated the shaky cam in Cloverfield. Your man was trying way too hard. Like,
yeah, but I mean, Crank...
I wish people could see you, like, the way your hands are moving and everything right now. Like,
But Crank isn't just a hit-and-run improvist film. It's, it's really the actors are really well blocked, and it's really well... the composition of the shots are really good and everything.
Yeah, exactly. What you were saying earlier, like when he takes a step or takes a jump, you feel it. If this was Cloverfield, when he takes a step, the camera would spin around, go into his mouth, and come out through the moon.
Yeah, it's a weird thing to say, but it's mostly restrained within its own sort of mode. There's a couple of bits where they go too far, but I think I can see a version of this film being totally intolerable. From a sort of cinematography perspective.
It wasn't intolerable
but
at
no,
all.
I think it actually...
I think it was made for men to go bang, bang, bang. There you go. There's what men would like to come and see. The same way that there's a lot of chick flicks that are like bang, bang, bang. There's certain elements they have to take off, and that will make hopefully a good blockbuster movie. Did it actually make any money?
It did. So its budget was 12 million, which is... honestly, it was slightly more than I expected, and its worldwide gross was nearly 43 million.
Yeah, so it was money making.
100 grand shorter of 43 million.
I say most of
the budget. It did what they really wanted it to do. I don't think that was an artistic film. I think it was a money.
I think it's an artistic.
Yeah,
somewhat artistic.
I wouldn't go that far.
And everything.
I think
experimental, maybe.
I think it's very clearly. I think it's very clearly not just a production line.
But where's the plot?
There's the plot there.
Yeah.
He has to get revenge on the man who poisoned him.
I think it's
so stupid. It's such a typical male thing. Like, there's nothing that's going to change his outcome by killing this guy.
But it's a film that's made with
it'll make him feel better when he goes to his death.
Feel better though, getting redemption or whatever.
But it's a film made with a very clear vision, right? It's not just a production assembly. Okay, we've got to put in all these elements and just get some fucking hack to do it. It's not. It's clearly a film that's, this is what these guys like. This is the kind of film that they admire. This is the kind of cinematography that they want to do. It's not just some hacky piece of shit, right?
No, it's
a
not
creative
a piece
film.
of
It's
shit.
a really creative film.
But it's just, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm a girl.
No.
It don't resonate with a lot of stuff. I don't even understand the whole...
Like, even, I'm sorry, their gangsters weren't great at all. You had even that first video of your man, and he's like, they're trying to
Give
really...
me some love. Like, what the fuck?
Better than Jared Leto as Joker.
I'm very interested. Now I'm very interested in my podcast hosts because I consider myself an archaeologist of you. I'm very interested in you people as a whole.
Thank you.
And I think a lot of the fun of Crank is sort of living vicariously through Jason Statham as he runs amok through the city. And I would like to know, if you had 24 hours to live, what wouldn't you do?
What wouldn't I do?
Yeah.
I wouldn't rape my partner.
I mean, now,
right there
so-
in front of everyone.
I mean,
Or in
there are
private, actually. Just wouldn't do it.
there are no consequences.
Yeah, I still wouldn't rape my
Well, no, sorry, I didn't mean
partner.
there are no consequences to you specifically for rape, but I just mean in general. Would you rob an off license?
Yeah, probably.
I probably would.
Yeah.
That'd be the first thing on my list.
Or if
I
not, I'd take out a
know,
massive loan and at
like-
least, fuck over the banks.
Yeah, like I'd go and get money out or whatever. I'd spend whatever on my savings and stuff. I wouldn't, like, I know that's very boring, but like, why would I want to impart any sort of... There is consequences. You mightn't get in trouble, but that off license owner is going to have to get it out of their pocket. Or
I wouldn't fuck him up.
maybe a big huge one like Tesco or something, you can afford the loss. But
I wouldn't go in there at gunpoint. I'd just grab a bunch of shit and run off with it.
yeah, but I just...
So then you're
think-
willing to risk spending your last few hours in a jail cell when you get caught.
Your
They
defense
won't
is I'm going to
catch
die
me.
soon.
You're gonna walk in without even a weapon.
You get caught if you do it systematically. Like,
Why
this
have
would
you
be-
done this before that you know?
No, I'm just assuming that this is the case.
If I had 24 hours to live, I would probably do something like jump out of an airplane or something like that.
So like
Or-
him did, he jumped out of a helicopter.
yeah, but not without a parachute. I'd still like to go for maybe a nice lunch and dinner with my family. I'm a sap, so I would do something sappy, basically.
Do you?
But
have
I would see, that's the thing. I wouldn't be like, oh, I want to go and rob this. I want to go and fight this person. I want to go and get revenge on this. And I do think
You'd
men
basically
think
just
that
be
way.
living. You'd be doing what you normally do, right?
No, not what I normally do, but like not going around stealing and robbing and causing fights. Why would you want to live your last day like that?
Richard, would you do anything fun?
I don't know if I cause fights now because I'm not really a fighter, but like I would do mad stuff like buy a bunch of Bucky and get loads of food and call a massive block party in my town and shit.
Yeah, a big
Richard
party.
is going to buy the Buckfast.
Yeah, but I gotta get a massive loan beforehand and fuck over
Yeah,
the
that's a
banks.
good idea.
Yeah, but he's actually going to buy it, he's going to throw a rager. That makes perfect sense. Robbing an off license because there's going to be no consequences the next day
Is
is
it not-
not a good thing
But
to
isn't
do.
it breaking law though, like taking out loads of money if you know you're not gonna be able to pay it back because you're dead or moving away or something?
Meh.
Because the bank doesn't know I'm dying, but I do, so they're gonna be like, okay, you pay us back by next year.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's not as bad. It doesn't seem as bad because it's a bank.
Yeah, banks are evil.
Although then you could be people like you who are dying all over the place and then cause the next recession.
Whatever, I won't be there.
What about you?
I just
Rob an off license. Get
I
hammered.
just have a laugh. I know. I feel right since I'm dying that these businesses and whatever else, they'll be fine. They can let me rob them, right? Because I'm dying, right?
What about you, Karen?
To be honest, I'll probably just do something very, very boring. Spend
Yeah.
my life savings. I'd hire a private jet or something.
Yeah, just something.
Some of these things take
Like
longer
go
than
how-
a day to do. Though.
How long do I have?
24 hours.
24 hours only.
Yeah, so you have to kind of do something that's exciting, but at the same time, you've got to fit in time for your friends and family. As boring as that is, you'd be very sad if you didn't say goodbye to your friends and family.
You could just all meet them for like 5 minutes, give them a bottle of Bucky, be like,
No, I
remember
like
me,
your
we're
idea
drinking
of
this.
a big party, like a whole party, like where you invite everyone and you just go mad.
Full of coke and hookers and coked up hookers.
Maybe
If that's
for
what you
people who
want.
want coke, but
Okay, so guys, last word on Crank.
Loads of fun.
I like it quite a bit. I think it's okay. It's pretty fucking stupid and it's not as good as I remember. I take it you feel differently.
It's fairly fucking stupid. That man should have been dead ages ago. There's only so much adrenaline.
Yeah, only
And
drinks
energy drinks and
drugs.
caffeine and drugs you can put in your body in the space of less than 24 hours before your heart just gives out. He would have killed himself in the process several times over trying to save his own life.
Wait, so is your main criticism of the movie that it's unrealistic? And that's why you don't like it?
No, but it's one element why we don't like it. It's okay, but I don't think we'd ever be just the two of us sitting down and be like, do you know what we'll watch, Karen? Crank. It's never gonna happen.
Crank 2 is on TV, lads.
So
I think what you said when we decided it'll be the film we watch together is that it was for ye the ideal film to watch
with a bunch of lads.
with some cans. That's what we said.
Yeah.
It's to watch around with a few cans and have a bit of a laugh while watching it.
Yeah.
It's not a film you watch to get some, like, other than to see the cinematography,
insightful
which was
meaning
quite
to
good.
life or anything like
There's
that.
no great substance in that film. It's a film to watch and laugh at how many
It's
times he
entertaining.
can
It's
bash
not
his head.
Insightful.
I hope we're doing this podcast still in 3 years.
Is
Me
there
too.
another one of these
Crank
films?
For Crank 2.
I've actually never seen that one.
Okay, and
I
on
hope
that
we
note,
never do sequels.
on that note, we're moving on to The Holiday. Written and directed by Nancy Myers. Gloria, take it away.
Okay, so this movie is kind of around Christmas time based, hence The Holiday, but it's also because it's about these two women, Cameron Diaz and Kate Winslet, so Kate Winslet is Iris and Cameron Diaz is Amanda Woods, and they basically almost swap homes, so they kind of swap lives for a few weeks. So they're both kind of love-torn women who've been like treated real crappily or treated real badly by their partners. So Iris is English, she's come from Surrey, and she's a writer and editor at the Daily Telegraph, and then Amanda Woods is like this big California producer of trailers, and she has a big production company that makes trailers, and they've both been treated really badly by their partners, been cheated on and all this, and they kind of just decide, I want to change. So they're on like this house exchange website thing, and they both end up swapping houses, and it's kind of like do you know that tale about the city mouse and the town mouse, and or the country mouse, and they swap like lives. So like Amanda lives in this big huge house in California, and she's got all these fancy stuff in the house and like automated blinds and all this stuff, and then Iris lives in this like quaint little cottage in Surrey in the middle of the countryside, where the nearest like pub is like an hour away or something, or like walk. Well, that's probably an exaggeration, but and basically it's two love stories going, well, I'd say three. So there's two love stories going on at the same time. So Amanda goes over to Surrey, and she meets Iris's brother Graham, and they end up having their own little love story. Then Iris goes over to California, and she ends up meeting Miles, and they have a little kind of love story going on. And then Iris also has a really nice story going on with this actor called Arthur Abbott, writer called Arthur Abbott, and he's this really, he would have like helped write all the old Hollywood movies, and he like tries to get her to have confidence in herself and wants her to have gumption, is what he says and all. And I think that's my favourite line in the story, as in like the whole storyline within the storyline. But I liked the movie. It's just one of those nice movies. It's not like Crank, it's not particularly insightful or anything like that. It's a nice movie to watch with your girlfriends.
Now, Gloria, what is your selection process when you're trying to come up with a film for this podcast? Because
what will annoy Fitzy?
I like to pick films that I think will provoke interesting discussion.
Yeah, what will annoy Fitzy? And it does. Usually my movies actually always
Are chick
promote
flicks you have on DVD.
Yes, that's also part of it, because it's a bit of a pain in the arse having to try and like,
Because you can't use
stream
Google.
I can, but I hate I always end up, if I do illegal downloading, I will always end up with a virus.
Which we don't do because it's a bad thing.
Don't make me say wished
and
again.
yes, I also like to pick movies that I know that I've seen sometimes, that I like to compare them from when I watched them 10 years ago when they came out to when I watch them now, because I like that to think, God, I really loved this movie 10 years ago, and now I'm kind of like, it's okay.
I'm just glad we weren't having cans watching this film, because if we drank every time they said men or sex, we'd be dead.
It reminds me too much of a much more serious film with a similar plot. The year before this, a film came out called Tara Road, in which this grieving mother from Connecticut swaps houses with this woman from Dublin who's having marriage problems. But that's a much more serious film. Whereas this is more of a rom-com that was much more of a drama. But still has that whole swapping houses and, like, you know, going from
Similar plot,
but it's done much more seriously. It's much more sadder and dramatic and that type of thing. Whereas The Holiday is very much, it's a very light-hearted holiday film. It's like, it's December, let's release a film for Christmas.
It's a feel-good movie.
It's weird at times.
So, about 15 minutes into this film, I was already angry.
Yay!
Glora's like,
actually,
mission
I'm
succeeded.
just going to read off what I have here in my notes. Fucking Yanks. Everywhere in England is Harry Potter land to them. Because Kate Winslet is walking down this like idyllic cobble street fucking thing, and then she goes into her tiny little idyllic fucking cottage, and everything's cute and twee and but I like Americans by and large, but Jesus Christ,
You like Americans?
their vision of what they think England looks like. Most likely she'd be going back to her dumb flat somewhere in fucking central London.
Well, okay, she lives in Surrey, so she wouldn't be going back to a flat in
Wait,
central
does she not?
London.
She works in London, doesn't she?
The Daily Telegraph, I don't know where that is. But
It's probably in London, but
would be in
don't they
London.
say that Surrey is like, it's only a 40-minute drive from central London?
That's a
So-
heck of a commute.
Yeah, but so
It's
she
not
works
really. I
in
travel
writing. She probably doesn't go to the office every day. Speaking of media and the office, Glow, should we be worried? These are both two women in media. One's in writing, one's in film production doing movie trailers. Both are very, very miserable at the start of this film. They're both very depressing
Yeah, but
people.
it has nothing to do with their careers. It has to do with the men that they are choosing. It's not their actual careers that are making them depressed. Amanda Woods loves making movie trailers and she's really good and really successful at it. Iris loves writing and is really talented at it and being a really talented editor, but they
It's
just
men.
have
Do
terrible
you not-
taste in men.
Do you not feel sort of underwhelmed by the character development, that the only driving motivation in their lives is the men?
That
Yeah.
kind of drove me mad as well. Like every time, men. Oh, for fuck's sake, men. Oh, for fuck's sake.
But
Men,
see,
like
this
men
is also why I
dictate
picked this.
every
'cause
action they
that's
make in
what
this film.
annoys me about chick flicks is I don't think men alone should elevate or whatever put down your mood just because you have a bad relationship. Okay, it sucks and it hurts when relationships break down, but like that's what I liked about the Arthur Abbott telling Iris to be her own leading lady and to stop playing the supporting best friend role in her own life and have some gumption, because she was literally she was just hanging around waiting for this fucking Jasper fella to realise that he loved her, and it was ridiculous. It was so ridiculous.
Okay, I don't like Jack Black, and I didn't like him in this.
Yeah, he was kind of trying to do a more subdued role, and it just didn't seem right for him.
I mean, I don't like him at the best of times, and he is just no charm, and he's completely unconvincing in this.
He felt out of place in this kind of film, to be honest. No.
I'm going to say something quite mean. I don't think he could get her in real life.
Yes.
Kate Winslet is amazing, and
That's
not
another
that
thing.
Jack Black's not a good actor or whatever, but like I just feel like she's a bit out of his league.
Kate Winslet is
Amazing.
But I feel like that's why they were paired up, because they're such an odd couple.
But she's got such an emotive face that it almost looks like she's sad all the time.
No, she is quite sad for a lot of this movie. because she's so in love with your man Jasper.
That's such an old man name, Jasper.
Like, Iris was definitely the more depressing out of the two. Like, between her and Amanda, the sister, like, the brother makes a line saying you're to Amanda, like, you're the one of the most saddest people I know. I'm like, your sister is so much worse. But plus, you mentioned, like, that Kate Winslet will never get Jack Black in real life. That was never resolved. At the end of the film, they're just staying a few more days to New Year's.
Yeah,
there is no clarification of what's going to happen after. None of them are going to move.
Yeah, but that's kind of a cop-out ending, isn't it? She didn't want to, like, put a point in it. Are they going to move in together and take the big step, or is it just... Are they just going to let it peter out?
Are one of them going to have to move
she
countries?
She just kind of stopped it without ever
their
answering
job.
that
It's
question.
just a light-hearted movie. That's why I'm saying it hits those, again, just hits the boxes for the nice, girly movie. And, there are some things to think about, but, like, I think women should be more confident. They shouldn't let men rule their emotions. The same way I don't think men should let women. Like, Miles is actually a bit of a mess with the Maggie girl, and completely lets her rule how he feels, and lets her treat him like crap. Oh, I'm filming. Oh, wait, I'm actually banging some guy on set.
Okay, do you think it really sort of... do you think it really delivers that message that women should be more confident and not let men run their lives?
I think
considering it's about two women who are incredibly unconfident and let men run their lives.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that's why I picked it, because I knew it would come up in conversation. I think that intelligent people can have conversations like this about shit. Well, not shit, but light-hearted movies that apparently don't say a lot can still bring up something. Like, even with the Crank movie, it was like, oh, what would you do 24 hours? That's something to think about. Why are women so ruled by their relationships, their sexual relationships?
Yeah, it's weird. I don't really understand. I mean, I kind of do, but in a sense I don't really understand why women like chick flicks, considering by and large these characters are terrible. They're completely emotionally dependent on their romantic interests. They're not all that well developed.
Because a lot of real women are completely and emotionally dependent on their relationships. That's the problem.
Do you think these films accurately reflect reality?
Not exactly, but like you do have like so every chick flick kind of has. Well, this one doesn't, because it's slightly different going on. But you've got so let's say if I was in a chick flick. My boyfriend Aidan is the male interest. Karen is the supporting friend. Me and Aidan have a fight. I go or whatever. Me and Aidan meet. I tell her all about it. Then we go on a date and it's brilliant. I tell her all about it. Then so he does something awful, devastating, absolutely unforgivable. I go and tell her about it. And then we make up and I tell her all about it. And that's actually what happens in real life too. Like, you meet your partner, whatever, everything's great, you end up having your first fight. The only thing is, obviously it's a movie, so it's all dramatized.
Sure, I think it'd be a much more interesting premise, Glow. I think it'd be more interesting if you had a fight with Aidan and I had a fight with Heather. So then we'd in exchange, I went to live with Aidan and then Heather went to go live with you, and I got with Aidan and Heather got with you.
Okay, that's just wife swap.
But gay wife swap.
Are you suggesting you want to sleep with Aidan?
Why, did you say something?
And to be honest, I've never liked this film a whole while. I like films to make somewhat sense. Maybe I'm a bit of a nitpicker, but none of this film makes a whole pile of sense. Iris has not gone on a holiday in, I think they said, how many, 5-7 years? Yet she has put up her house on a house exchange website.
And no one's ever, like, picked it, apparently, even though, like,
no,
you said,
but she said, like, her friends did it recently, so it's a clearly a thing that she's only recently done, yet she has never had any intention on actually going on a holiday. So why is it on the site to begin with? There's just so many little, like, errors like that. There's an error where it's snowing, and then suddenly there's no snow on the ground, and then there's suddenly tons of snow all over again.
I missed that.
Continuity.
Maybe it gathered up after 2 minutes.
How do you feel about the fact that nothing happens in the film?
Yeah, it's kind of a side film.
It's these two characters. They meet two guys. I mean, you wouldn't even describe them as roadblocks.
No.
They learn a little about them. They're like,
There
I
is
didn't know
something
that.
that happens in the
Their
film.
relationships
There's
carry on
one
pretty
thing
well,
that happens in the film,
and then it ends.
and I think it's the only reason I really like the film. It's the only thing I like in the film, really, properly. And it's Arthur Abbott gets someone in his life to help him be well enough and have the confidence to walk up those steps to receive his Screenwriter's Guild
Yeah,
Award.
and do you know what?
OMG.
I feel that should have been its own film.
Yeah, that is like
And
that
it's-
is what I think the film should have been about.
But do you know what I mean? It feels
Forget Amanda
it
Woods
feels
and
like they
Jude Law.
actually plucked that storyline out of a different script and popped it in The Holiday. Because to me, it didn't feel like it belonged at all.
Yeah, it was a different film, but that was the bit you could hope. That was the bit that I liked. That was that relationship where she finds him wandering around and she helps him, and then he explains to her about the meet cute and all this kind of stuff, and
So
She
maybe
gives him something, he
Iris's
gives
side
her
of the
something.
plot would have been a lot better if Miles didn't exist. If the only thing that Iris was in America
But
for...
do you know why I think they added the Miles bit? It's because they would have thought, right, well, okay, Cameron Diaz got this, like, Jude Law, babe, whatever, like, romantic love interest, and we give Kate Winslet, what?
Wrinkly old man.
An old man. But it was
Well,
much
he's like
more...
the same age as her.
It was... What?
Yeah, they're like both in their 40s. It's just he was popular at the time, and it would be funny to pair him up with Kate Winslet. That's why.
No, not Jack Black. Arthur Abbott.
Oh, Saz, I forgot.
As in, like, if they gave her, like, this 70, 80-year-old man
That's just daddy
as her
issues.
love interest, as in, no. See, that's the problem right there. Love does not... I love everyone in this room,
Yes.
but I don't want to have sex with everyone in this room.
Okay.
So, like, love interest should not just be, they are going to end up having some sort of a
it should
sexual
be platonic
relationship.
love.
Yeah, it was her love relationship with Arthur Abbott was more compelling, more interesting, more insightful, just more everything than whatever the fuck she had going on with the Miles guy.
This is such a Taya moment. Love is important. Love is everything.
I think the reason the film is as uninteresting and uneventful as it is, because you know the way in every romantic comedy film it's two people meeting up, and then the second act sort of conflict is them sort of falling apart and having an argument or whatever, and then in the third act they meet up again. I think Nancy Meyer realised that since she's essentially doing two mini films in once, she couldn't have the same story in both of them because that would be ridiculous. So instead she just went, fuck it, I'll just do nothing instead. So Nancy Meyers at one point was the highest grossing female director in the world.
Really?
Yeah, The Parent Trap and others.
She directed a Parent Trap.
Oh, I hate that film.
I've never seen it.
Which parent? I'm presuming
The
the
first one, right?
The
No.
one from the 50s, she's that old.
one from the... Really?
Oh, no, then it must be a
Yeah,
remake.
no. Yeah, no. So she directed the remake with Lindsay Lohan, right?
That was awful.
And this film made a good bit of cash as well. Its budget was 85 million.
Really?
Its worldwide gross was 205 million. Yeah, I know, 85 million is ridiculous, isn't it? I bet like 84 of that was like above the line.
Most of that one must have gone to location or something.
It was probably went to the actors.
But it...
Yeah, there was like 5 or 6 big
Winslet
actors.
and maybe Jack Black and Jude Law, I suppose.
But it made way more
Cameron
money overseas than it did in the States. So domestically it made 63 million and internationally it made 141 million. So I'm guessing it played really well in England.
So we can't blame the Yanks for shit taste in this case.
No.
Anyway, what do we all think of it? I know I picked it, but I'm like, eh.
I know I've been giving out about it. It's nowhere near as bad as some of the other chick flicks we've watched. There are actually bits in it that are alright.
I think the Arthur
My-
Abbott storyline is its saving grace and Kate Winslet.
Sure, and Eli Wallach is awesome. But I just think... I mean, it's not great and it's fucking way too long. It's 2
Yeah.
hours and 15 minutes.
I didn't realise it was that long when I actually first picked it.
It just kind of made me feel nothing. I wasn't angry. I wasn't upset. I wasn't even bored. It was just kind of nothing.
Nothing.
It was white noise.
So, moving on to Stranger Than Fiction. It was directed by Mark Foster or Forster.
I think it's faster.
Is it Foster?
Yeah.
Karen, you chose this film, so tell us all about it.
That was my choice. I've been given lots of praise for this decision. It's about this guy called Harold Crick, who suddenly, he's been doing this roughly the same thing every day. He lives quite a mundane, boring life, until one Wednesday he suddenly starts hearing narration in his head, and a voice that no one else can hear. But what's really happening is that he is somehow a character in someone else's fiction, but this is all happening in reality. The story that this character of Karen Eiffel is writing is playing out in real life. So it's just that idea that, like, you know, what if the stuff you're writing is not actually fiction? It's actually someone else's reality. And that you actually have control over someone else's life. It's the premise of the film and the concept is good. The execution, on the other hand, is kind of fairly boring.
Yeah, how do you make such an interesting premise so fucking dry?
Because his life is dry. I think it's his life. It's more than mundane. It's literally like he knows how many times he brushes each tooth, for God's sake. He does everything at the exact same time every day. His life is literally the exact same every single day for however long he's been alive, which it's just so boring.
It's probably the worst attempt I've ever seen at boring office man life movie.
I thought it was okay. I liked it well enough, but I thought it set a terrible example for good mental health, because he goes to this either psychiatrist or psychologist, and she with this explanation that he's hearing voices in his head, which is about as bad as it gets, right? And she completely validates his psychosis by telling him to go to an actual writer and sort of delve deeper into it.
Well, it is called Strangers in Fiction, so it's strange.
That woman
should
be struck off.
Who, like, I probably stopped paying attention to her. Isn't she the one who said what you're describing as schizophrenia?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, so she clearly has him got a diagnosis and just plans on.
But it's not good enough to just diagnose it.
She was probably sick of her patients that day. It's like, oh, schizophrenic, are you? Okay, go chat to that lad or writer, whatever.
That's not really good enough. Like,
oh, I'm just sick of them.
It's sick of being the most complacent fucking psychiatrist in the world.
She basically says, "Okay, you're schizophrenic. Enjoy."
Again, like, you're schizophrenic. Just landed that in someone.
I think the dialogue is pretty crisp and smart and quite funny at
The
times.
narration at the beginning is awful. If that was the first page of a book, I wouldn't start reading.
Yeah, you wouldn't read to the second
the first page. It's like, Harold Crick brushes his teeth 66 times, 33 times up and down, and 33 times left and right.
Yeah,
I'm like, I would have left that
you
book.
would put the book down after the second page.
Yeah, exactly.
But yet she is praised as being such this amazing author, and this book is apparently going to be the best book she ever wrote. It's about a boring man and his wristwatch.
But a boring man with a wristwatch who's going to kill himself.
But no, what's the book about?
Yeah.
In the book, he doesn't know he's going to die.
Exactly. So it's not even that compelling thing of, knowing you're going to die and how you're going to cope with that. So, like,
we're talking about the actual book she's writing.
Okay, my problem with this, it's not a big problem, I just kind of rolled my eyes, is there's always this kind of snobbery with writers and creative people when it comes to people who work in offices. I like Office Space as much as anyone, but this is kind of the same deal. It's like anyone who works in an office is necessarily depressed.
Oh, they're dead inside. It's the worst thing in the world.
And I mean, studies have been done to conclusively prove that people who work in offices are not necessarily unhappy. In fact, they actually have higher job satisfaction, are more fulfilled in their lives, are generally happier than creative people. I mean, artists are the most fucking miserable people of all.
They have to, because they have to be miserable. Because what are you going to write about if you're happy all the time? Pain is where art comes from.
And it's not even, it's the type of books this woman writes. She's
pretty fucking miserable.
She writes every book this woman has ever written, in which she has written at least 8. She killed someone. And all her books, the hero dies. So, I mean, she clearly doesn't write very happy stuff.
Yeah.
If she is purposely creating characters with the intention of killing them.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, when I write stuff, maybe, like, you know, I might write a story and the main character does die, but I don't start a story with the intention of I'm going to write this character I like and got emotional attachment to just to kill him.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and it takes her 10 years to figure out how to kill this.
That's a sign you don't know how to end something. Oh, he dead now.
But she starts the book with the intention of killing him.
Yeah, she
it's
does.
her specific thing.
But then she gets writer's block and she can't kill him. So obviously she's either grown attached to him or she can't figure out how or why.
She needs Queen Latifah to help her out.
Yeah. I just feel, I'm trying to think of the way I explained it to Aidan the other day. I feel like it's a drama trying to be a comedy, trying to be a drama about Will Ferrell, and it just doesn't work that way.
In fairness to Farrell, I thought he was doing the best he could. Like, I thought he was doing, I don't think he was the worst thing about this film.
But see, I don't know, it's that expectation, isn't it? He has totally and 100% been typecast as funny, the funny guy. And when you watch a Will Ferrell movie, you expect it to be hilarious, you expect to be laughing the whole way through. You don't expect him to be brushing his teeth a particular number of times for most of the movie.
Yeah, he doesn't. He's not a good enough performer to pull off this sort of dead inside shell of a man.
I just think that they emphasised his boring too much.
Yeah.
Whether that was the director's fault, the writer's fault, Will Ferrell's fault, I don't know. But the boring was like there was way too much boring. Even the exposition seemed way too long because it was so boring and showing us everything he did during the day, and it was just literally, I was like, okay, eyes drooping, and I would still been on 2 minutes.
That seems to be another thing with dead inside office stories. You seem to think once these people go home, they just do mundane things. They don't have hobbies, they don't have friends. They just go home and like stare at the mirror and brush their teeth or something, like, you know.
Yeah, how do you get to be in that age and not have friends or something you like?
Because the office took them away.
Because she started writing this character 10 years ago, so thus everything he didn't change from the day she started writing about him to the end. She would have written the opening chapters of that book quite early on, 10 years ago to be exact. So that's why him as a person didn't develop for that decade.
Yeah, but it's boring.
Oh, it is boring as all hell.
And it's also, that's depressing. She took away his life.
And what's worse is that professor at the end, this book expert, who tells Harold that he should die because it's her masterpiece. You should die so this woman can write a bestseller.
Really die for the sake of art. Die, you know, I think it's bad enough when people are told to die for the sake of your country, die for the sake of this, die for the sake of that. Like, even the
Would
people...
you not die for me?
That's different. That's for friendship. And
Okay, Taya.
Shut up. That is different though. That is one person's life, another. Nobody's life should be more valuable than the other. So I consider all our lives as valuable as each other. But for
some lives are more
just to
valuable
have
than
a
others.
really good book.
It's just going to be a bestseller for a few months and then everyone would have forgotten about it.
It's not like it's even a Shakespeare play that's going to like combat a load of other, you know, ideas and stories and everything. It is just one woman's book that took her 10 years to write. She really should somebody have to, when he's finally found some happiness in his life, have to die so that she can have a masterpiece, even though she's already a pretty acclaimed writer and everything. Does that really need to be? That's just stupid. It's so stupid.
So Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Oh, I knew you were going to bring her up. Jesus,
I don't like her in this.
I hate her.
I like her in this.
Real life. I hate her.
I do like her in other
No,
things.
I love Maggie
don't like her in
Gyllenhaal.
this.
I think she's great.
She's dreadful.
And I think she has an...
Ugly face.
Well, I think I think it's pretty impressive.
She's quite pretty.
No, oh god, she's repulsive.
I think she's really pretty, but she has this ability to make herself look like scary, like intimidating.
That's how she normally looks.
In Adam.
No.
I didn't say she was bad. Yeah, I didn't say she was bad. I'm just not particularly endeared to her. I'm not. I don't know what. Other than Emma Thompson, I'm not endeared to any of the characters, and I don't know why I'm endeared to Emma Thompson, because she's a loony in it. But I think
probably
it's just
because she's a writer and you're a writer.
It's probably just because I don't sit on the edge of or stand on the edge of a table imagining what it's going to be like to jump off a building.
But she's so quirky, Gloria.
Or sit out in the middle of the rain
quirkiness.
and smoke 2 puffs of a cigarette and then put it out in a tissue.
While imagining
you don't get how genius operates, Gloria.
What? By killing people?
By being so weird and distraught and doing random things that
Plus,
normal
I
people
think
don't
a
do.
good writer should also be able to adapt. Why would you pick up that story and read it if you've read her other 7 books to turn around and know that you're going to fall in love with a character, that you're going to meet this character, that you know the ending. If every single one of her books ends the same way, you know then that this character is going to die. What is the bloody point?
Would you continue being a writer if you knew that every character you wrote then becomes like a sentient person and that you can do whatever you want to them?
Yes. God, yes.
Like you could kill them, you could you could make them win the lottery and then it turns
that's
out,
what I was thinking.
and then it turns out they didn't win the lottery.
I wouldn't have the balls to kill them if I knew they were real. No way in hell.
I would just never write stuff in this universe. I would create a completely separate universe. Thus, all life that I've created is mine.
Okay.
Yeah, but they would still be.
Karen wants to be God.
But I wouldn't write someone into this world.
But everybody you don't write them into this world. Like you write them and then they exist in some other world. But they're still sentient beings that experience pain and everything else.
Yeah, but then I'll only get lovely, happy stories.
So then there's no tension or conflict in any of your stories.
No, I'm thinking about fiction I've wrote, and I've probably killed characters.
Bastard.
Yeah, but if you knew, that's different. When you kill a character on paper, you write, whoever died, you don't think that it's real. It does, it's not real. You're not thinking I've actually killed someone. And while you have this character in your head that you've created and that you know and you feel like you know really well and everything, at the end of the day, they're not actually real. So you can kind of justify it to yourself. What if, you started writing a story about a guy called Bob, and then Bob turned up at your door and was like, I'm going to die if you write.
Yeah, it's so long as Bob, that the character I'm writing, isn't physically in this universe. That they're in a separate...
Why does the fact that they're in another universe...
Because you can't see them.
She can she can distance herself away from it.
They're not going to turn up at my door and ever inform me that I'm about to kill them.
What if they invent an interdimensional portal gun?
Right, so you only feel guilt when it's someone who you can see and experience.
I'll probably still feel guilt, but if I'm creating the entire universe they're in, I'm giving life to billions of people.
Right.
But also,
some of them are going to die naturally anyway. It's a bit like the book Inkheart.
Did you just hear what you said? Some of them are going to naturally die anyway. So it doesn't matter if I kill them? Of course, and Karen, they're all going to naturally die. Or they're all going to die one way or another.
Die of natural causes.
But this is something that came to mind with me now. Do you know the way you said, right, so she started writing this book 10 years ago, because we see the interview in the professor's office where she's talking about this new book, but the interview is 10 years old. But obviously Harold is not, 10 years old. He is quite older. So how, was he born? He was created first, and then what? Because he had the same name as her character, decided to rule his life. How did that end up happening? Or did he cease to exist, and then?
Yeah, I don't know, because that would change it. If the person just magically came into being. But if you're right, and what you've done is you've hijacked someone else's life, just because you've done, that's a different story. I couldn't be dealing with that. I couldn't deal with I've suddenly made a puppet out of someone.
Right, so you feel comfortable taking life as long as you were the one that was giving it.
Yeah, she's God.
Let's not buy Karen sea monkeys for Christmas.
Let's make sure Karen doesn't have
kids. Does anyone know whether he existed previous to her, or did he just magically appear into that work, into that apartment, into that life when she started writing that book 10 years ago? Or does he have... He doesn't talk about a childhood from what I remember of the movie. He doesn't talk about a childhood. He doesn't talk about anything previous to the 10 years. So did he
he has very little ambition. He has to actually think. And his only ambition in his life is to learn how to play guitar. And
which
that's
most
his
people, if
ambition
they
in
wanted
life.
to do that, would just go and buy a bloody guitar.
But he had to think very hard about it. And it's like, the only people that have so little drive and ambition are ones whose ambition was randomly picked by some woman who can't even think of how to kill him. So is his entire, like, you know...
existence down to her? Or is it like you going around, like one of us going around living our lives, and then all of a sudden someone decides to write a book about a person called Gloria Shannon, and then all of a sudden I'm ruled by this author? Or is it somebody...
That's basically Death Note, isn't it?
No, Death Note, you just write how they die.
But like, I'd love to know whether he existed prior or what, because he just doesn't talk about any memories, or, you know, there's no reference to a childhood, there's no reference to parents, there's no reference to siblings. Like, there's no proof that he existed before she started writing this book.
I always took it that she just wrote him and then he existed. Yeah.
I just don't
But
think you
then
should think
is
about
he a
this
real
because it's never going
person?
to be explained.
Yeah. Well. No, yeah.
And now that she's not writing about him anymore, does he have free will now? Or is he going to end up doing nothing because she's not writing anything?
Well, he's not a real person if you consider a real person someone who's been born, conceived, born, grew up, whatever. But he's a living, sentient being. I mean, that's all that matters, right?
Yeah,
but not to Karen, obviously.
If she created him, she
Well,
can kill
I'm
him.
sorry, I have to justify the fact that if this is real, if this can really happen, that I have created several
she has
universes
killed
and I've
plenty
killed
of
people.
people.
I just don't like the idea of that being
You'd
possible.
have no problem killing clones or robots with sentience.
I probably would have a problem with it, but I just don't want to imagine it being possible. It's a bit like the story in Cart, where, like, you know, you can pull people out of their own stories. But even what's written in the book, there's a whole other world behind that. You've created a world that you don't control. Other things happen that are out of your control in that universe. So have I really created that universe, or was that universe already in existence and I'm just telling the stories that exist in it?
My mind hurts.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Will Ferrell was not supposed to fucking
I think this
make
movie
this
is
thing.
meant to make your mind hurt. You're kind of meant to kind of, I don't know. And do you know what? When I thought he was going to die, I did not cry. I did not feel upset.
Heartless bastard, Lo.
When
Fucking hell.
do you know, when you thought that he died, I did not feel
Gloria.
much. And that's me. I'd cry if a fly got hurt in a movie, probably.
Okay, so Stranger Than Fiction, I thought it was okay. I thought it was funny enough and smart enough. I guess I'm alone there.
It was okay, but I didn't like the mundaneness of it.
It was really boring. Really fucking boring.
Well, I quite like Stranger Than Fiction. Like, there's a lot of elements I like. I think it's a bit too long, and there was a few things they could have done differently to make it an awful lot better.
More, I don't know, engaging, I suppose is the word.
Like, you noted, like, the lack of attachment to any of the characters. You don't get very attached to Harold Crick and his witch watch, or whatever his name of Miss Pascal and her little, like, you know.
Bakers,
I
yeah.
like Miss Pascal.
Yeah, that's because you're attracted to her. You want to put your willy in her.
You're
and
attracted
that is
to
why you
goblins.
like her.
To goblins.
It made decent money. Its budget was 30 million and its box office was 53 million, so it's kind of its performance is
Not great, really.
Alright.
well, I mean, it didn't just break even, it broke even and also made some money. So our last film of this episode is Paprika, directed by Satoshi Kon.
Yes, Satoshi Kon.
Okay, Richard, go for it.
Paprika is a story about this cop lad. He's trying to figure out this case, and he goes to this technology thing where they record your dreams, and you can kind of be in them and you can watch them and all this stuff. and there's baddies trying to use this for evil and stuff. It's hard to explain.
It is hard to explain. Okay, I'll say this right from the get-go. This is a film I need to see a second time.
It's
To
great.
understand it.
Yeah, before I can properly comment on it.
Well, I'll tell you this, like, it's by Satoshi Kon, and Satoshi Kon, his works are always about kind of your hallucinations or your things in your head kind of actually becoming real, basically. And again, like, that happens in Paprika, sure, you know.
Yeah. I've never seen any of his other films. I've never seen Perfect Blue.
He made Paranoia Agent, which is one of my favourite animes, like top 5 anime series anyway. I love Paranoia Agent.
So did this film inspire Inception?
Some parts I thought it was at the beginning. I was like, did he rip off this Nolan? But then as it got towards the end, I was like, no, not really. This is basic Satoshi Kon letting your freaky thoughts freak out, where Inception was just a heist movie in your head.
So you prefer this to Inception?
Well, visually I do anyway, definitely. Like,
I do.
Satoshi Kon also has interesting.
It's a hard
visuals.
one. I mean, this one is shorter, which is an instant bonus. But I mean, the fucking art direction and
and the music as well.
Yeah, it's amazing. But I think the art direction and in Inception was class as well.
Do you know the way if you're an insomniac and you can't sleep?
Yeah.
You have like
I know all too
emotional
well,
issues and
yeah.
depression and so on. A lot of the time goes along with insomnia. Your dreams are your mind's way of counselling yourself. Your dreams are your mind's way of solving problems. Your emotional problems, your physical problems in the real world. You solve them in your dreams. You come up with solutions to. So this problem is happening. You do it while you're sleeping. And if you cannot get into a deep sleep and have those dreams,
Which
then
I can.
yeah, well, at the moment you're probably struggling with things then, or you will, because
I daydream. It essentially follows the same rules.
Gloria, have you ever had a dream where you saw your life projected in a movie theater, but all the people in the movie theater were dogs and they're barking and clapping their dog hands?
No.
no. Have
David
you?
Lynch.
You know what that means, and that's an important one.
Well, I haven't.
I feel like you should be
That-
telling these to a psychologist and not the
that's-
podcast, Fitzy.
But your dreams do mean things, but you have to try and decipher what they actually mean. Because sometimes, like, things like you might think your teeth falling out in a dream means that you were worried about your teeth falling out, but it actually means that you have anxiety about something and that you're worried about losing something or something.
I don't think I want to know what my dreams mean, because I have weird ones and I just think I'm better off being innocent.
As a matter of interest, have you ever had the famous you go to school and you don't have any clothes one?
No.
No.
Neither have I. Although I've had dreams where I'm naked in public.
But I
I had a dream as a kid that my school was completely abandoned. I was the only one there, and it was all very grayscale.
Oh, that
Oh, and it
probably
was like-
means that you feel like you're the only one in school who's doing any work.
Is that what it was meant to be like primary school? I don't think I did any work in primary school.
When I was like
Oh,
10,
those random pit holes used to fall down. It was very exciting.
I was 10 and I dream I killed my teacher with a cow.
With a cow.
It was,
What,
yeah.
like, were you brandishing the cow?
It was in the N64 South Park game. There's a gun where you shoot a cow and it flies up in the air and lands on someone and squishes them, and basically that's what I did to him in the dream.
So, the end of this film,
Yes.
what the fuck happened?
The end, it's again like a lot of Satoshi Kon stuff. Mad shit happens, and again, it's one criticism I have of Kon is like they go through all this mad psychological trauma, and then it comes out in the world and they kill it somehow, and then they're just fine.
Okay,
They just
but
kind of walk off in a happy life.
What's the relationship between, the Paprika, I forget her
The
actual-
doctor.
the doctor and the engineer
Anchan
guy?
or something. I think the doctor, the Paprika is just like her perfect perception of herself.
No, when I
isn't
say
it?
Paprika, I forgot her name.
You're on about between the doctor and...
Oh, the fat lad
Yeah.
and the doctor, yeah.
They get together, they're about to get married.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
It felt like they were only sort of alluding to it. They didn't.
No,
they kind of-
They
in
said
the
Paprika
letter.
left a letter for the detective at the end, saying that she was basically that the doctor was going to become Mrs. Fat Guy. I can't remember his name.
I think the problem with, and like I said, I need to watch it a second time. But the problem with anything that takes place in a dream is that there are no rules and there are no restrictions. Therefore, you can do anything you like. Therefore, there's very little tension. So, like at the end of this film,
Well, that's why
Paprika just grows to massive proportions and swallows everything. It's like she could do that all along. How come she just didn't do that to begin with? Or,
Well, I thought the villain in this was kind of the weakest thing, because the villain was just a bad guy who wanted to get his legs back or something.
I thought he kind of looked shit at the end, his final form, if you will.
Well, I think it's just like,
Oh,
he's
I
super
noticed
strong.
something.
He
None
went
of
from a
them have
crippled...
genitalia.
Sorry, women have genitalia?
The woman, she grew big, like up to a giant. She had no vagina. Your man had no penis.
Well, they couldn't like make it explicitly a porno where she has a
no,
giant
the
fucking
boobs were very detailed.
Yeah, but
So
boobs.
they either don't detail nipples.
aren't- nipples
the
aren't-
nipples and everything were complete, like 100% detailed. They could have made it look a bit softer looking. Those nipples were cold.
Nipples
And
aren't
there was nothing going on downstairs. Or did they have to show her whole naked body?
Nipples
at the front?
don't have.
And him too. Like he had nothing there.
Well, nudity is.
Yeah,
It
you
was
can-
strange. It was
You
strange.
can show boobs in films basically no problem, but
Yeah.
showing like sex organs that's
way more.
that's going to increase the rating. Like
I know,
Like,
but
there's
I
actually
just
a
don't think
specific
they
rule.
should have shown that half because it was like didn't look. The rest of the movie looked realistic, somewhat. The animation was brilliant, and then all of a sudden, you just got these people going around. You're like, no wonder they're so fucking annoyed all the time. They've no fucking sex
So you were
organs.
enjoying it up until the point when you realised
I
they weren't
just
anatomically correct.
noticed it was strange. I noticed that I was looking at this, man that was covered in like some sort of black. I don't know whether it was his skin or lycra or what the fuck it was, and he had no genitalia. And then a few minutes later, she grows really big, and she's got these amazing boobs and these pointy as fuck nipples, but no vagina. It was
and
strange.
you knocked off 2 points each.
No, I didn't. I just thought it was strange.
I want to see Paprika's massive fucking 10-meter goal.
And I thought she was very mean to the fat guy to then go and marry him. You're a fat mess of a person. And all
She's
this
just trying to
kind
help
of
him.
Yeah, tough love.
Yeah. You're gonna have to do that.
He couldn't even get out of an elevator.
stuff. Yeah, I know, but I mean,
And at the restaurant when he was ordering about 10 meals, that was disgusting.
3.
Felt like 10.
It was just 3.
yeah, but it was like
And he's knocking them back though.
3
like.
mains, let's say. It
3
wasn't
main, and he was
like-
knocking them all back like.
Yeah, well, the other 2 weren't eating anything.
I thought they already ate. I thought this was like his dessert.
Were you guys as fucking confused as I was?
Yes.
Not really, no. Like, what do you call it? Paranoid agent is a lot more confusing than this.
Now, like, I was confused when I saw Inception. And Inception basically makes sense when you see it for the third time, even though there are a couple of plot holes. This was kind of the same deal. I feel like it'll make sense when I rewatch it. But it was just like, what the fuck is the DC Mini? And there's very little context. And wait, hold a second, wait, what? He's dreaming and blah, blah, blah.
The
That only kinda
DC
happened
Mini
once.
It was really hard to follow.
is essentially a thing that scans your brain for your subconscious images
I eventually
and
got
send
that.
them to a computer.
But I just feel like, did they explain the DC Mini to begin with? Like, did they put it in context? I feel like she, the main character, she walks into the building and then it's like the DC Mini's been stolen. I was like, wait, what the fuck is the DC Mini?
Well, you see the
No,
DC
yeah, you
Mini
see
in the
DC
first
Mini with
scene.
Paprika.
Did they say it's a DC Mini though? Did they use that?
Yeah,
You say that a lot.
Paprika says it, so she puts it. She takes it off her own head and off the detective's head, and she's like, "This is a DC." Everyone startled at the first go or whatever, and then she explains that it, that he can rewatch it on the. And then
So you
he's
guys
like,
were able
"Why
to
do they
follow
all look like
Yeah.
me?"
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. I thought Inception was hard
No,
to
there
follow.
was definitely bits like I don't understand why everyone else.
Oh, here she goes about the fucking.
She's got
sex
mechanics
organs
now
again.
for
No.
years.
Why everyone so the weird short guy, the fat guy, okay, the fat guy actually did have an alter ego or whatever, but they didn't seem to, the detective and stuff, why didn't they have alter egos in the dream world? Why was
Because they probably just projected
Why?
themselves like that because they didn't really want an alter ego. So
why
people are
did
just happy
she
with
have
themselves.
this girl who was nothing like her?
Because that was probably a perfect image of
Yes,
herself.
this is probably the skill that she's developed over a period of years.
But maybe the detective just thought he was grand and didn't want to be.
And then how did
a
the
robot.
other doctor, the one who was, that was such a weird scene where he put his hand
Oh yeah,
Actually,
that
Oh,
in
is
her-
weird.
yeah. The
in her
detective.
and then ran his and split, it looked like he split Paprika open and took out the actual doctor. How did he manage to do that?
Yeah, but
Dream
if
magic.
he can do that, why can't she just magic herself through the restraints?
Didn't they try?
That's
Yeah.
my
Didn't
problem
they try
with
to
films that
explain
take place
that?
in dreams.
They tried to explain that as saying that Professor X character, just what I'm going to call him, has given the other doctor, the male doctor, power, and that room was where he had the power. Because bear in mind, they're all in your man's dream, the crazy Professor X guy.
Yeah.
So he has the most control. So thus, by giving him this room, he is the one in control of that situation, not Paprika.
Yeah.
So that's why she's stuck to the thing and can't move.
But she's been able to do whatever the fuck she wants up until this point.
But that's because magic room that gives him stronger powers.
So like there is rationalization to it, but sometimes it's hard figuring out what.
You're just in the
what
wrong
they
place.
are
But how come she
trying
was
to do.
able to grow to massive proportions and then swallow everything at the end?
That was the real life.
She was still within his head, right?
That was the real life because
That
that's
was
when
real
dreams
life.
went mad. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
was when dreams and reality merged together.
Oh right, okay, that's not
And
confusing at all.
then it was something to do with that thing that little creepy doll kept saying about light, darkness, and the sun or something.
Yeah, I found making out what they were actually saying really hard.
It was very, very cryptic.
Especially
The
when you're
animation
talking-
was really good
Oh,
and
no,
it was
it's
so
great.
colourful.
Well, yeah, it's Madhouse. Madhouse used to be great when they used to take risks.
What's
It was
Madhouse?
so colourful.
Madhouse Studio.
Oh, it's just like
This studio they kind of take gambles sometimes, like where they just put all the money into one mad project. And
are
then,
they also in Japan?
yeah,
So they're like a competitor to Studio Ghibli.
yeah, basically just another animation studio.
It was probably one of the best ones we watched, to be fair, because it was interesting, but it was also a bit of a mindfuck, to be fair.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know already. I really like it. I just feel like I can't really give that too much of a definitive sort of.
And analysts.
Yeah, I can't give a definitive sort of analysis on it when I followed it so poorly. I guess you guys didn't have the same problem.
It's
We're
I
smart.
get where you're coming from with a lot of the stuff. It is hard to kind of grasp the concept for a lot of things, but it's just you have to think about it. Like,
Maybe I just wasn't paying attention hard enough.
do you watch a lot of like fantasy stuff though?
Yeah.
So it's kind of there
No,
are
this
no
was totally up my alley.
with rules or with fantasy things at all. There aren't really rules.
Guys, last word on Paprika. I'll get started. I really liked it, although I need to see it a second time.
I recommend it. Like I recommend all of the Khan's work.
It's probably one of the best films that Richard's gotten us to watch.
I'd agree with that, and it's very interesting. The animation, the colours are amazing, and sure, just give it a watch.
Next month, welcome to Seagal month. All handpicked by me.
Oh, feck off! I am not watching a Skal movie.
Okay, so out of the 4 movies, Holiday, Paprika, Crank, and Stranger Than Fiction, which was your least favourite and which was your favourite?
My least favourite was Crank.
Really?
My
What the
most
fuck?
favourite was
I thought it would
Paprika.
be Stranger Than Fiction. You really didn't like Crank.
I liked certain elements of Strangers in Fiction quite a lot. I just didn't like the mundaneness.
Paprika gets my top, which I'm quite surprised with, and I just didn't like Crank. It's my least favourite.
Jesus Christ, ladies. My top is Paprika. My least favourite was Stranger Than Fiction. Or more like drier than dog shite. Way!
So my favourite was Paprika and my least favourite was The Holiday. Okay, that does it for another episode of the Decade Old Podcast. If you like this episode, we have a Facebook page, which would be nice if you give us a like there. We'll be back next year doing the first quarter of 2007. But until then, it is goodbye from me, Conor Keary.
Bye from me, Gloria Shannon.
Bye for me, Karen O'Sullivan.
Bye for me, Ricky Travers.
The real star.